Marc Sheinbaum, CEO of Chase Auto Finance, talks about how auto finance changed in 2009 and what we might expect to see in 2010.
I think we all feel good about where we are today versus I think about a year ago, we didn't know if the world was coming to an end. And I think while many of us didn't think it was going to come to an end, there were a lot of worries out there. And I think the other thing, if you think last year, this time, people were saying, well, banks weren't lending and so there was no source of credit. And even though that wasn't totally true, the perception was very strong. So I think that perception is largely gone now. I think nobody has any doubts that banks and finance companies are out there lending. The capital markets, which created a lot of that credit crunch you heard about last year, they haven't fully healed, but it certainly feels like they're on the mend. So I think you'll see some of the lenders that pulled back dramatically, going back, maybe not as aggressive as they were before, but tipping their toe back in the water. So, we had a great year last year. A lot of it because, our balance sheet was strong, our funding was still strong. We had capital behind us to basically do the lending, and so we picked up a lot of share because our competitors were pulling back. So we're under no illusion of continuing that large share we had last year. We know competitors are going to come back in. So I think that from a dealer perspective, they know that's going to be a healthier environment for everybody. The one thing that's very unique about the auto finance space is, I don't think that, in general, there were a lot of players who got hit pretty hard by the credit cycle, both in terms of not just funding, but in terms of losses and delinquency. But I think that, relatively speaking, you think about what happened in mortgage, what's happened in the credit card, I think that we've come through this as an industry, relatively unscathed. So I think when you look at the consumer and the credit cycle, I think many of us are seeing some improvements in terms of consumer delinquency and losses. So I think that my perspective is we're going to have some good tailwinds as we go into 2010, that we're seeing the consumer, they have pulled back, they've been very cautious. The people who were out there shopping last year tended to people who had money. We saw more down payments. That's all good and healthy for the industry. That's going to be good and healthy for our portfolios, and it's going to allow all of us to kind of stay out there and lend and be very, very supportive to the dealer base.